Hello, dear heart, and welcome to this video where I will explain about tensegrity. Okay, so tensegrity is the biomechanics that is built from tension and compression. Now, remember that I mentioned the worldview of separation versus connection. This comes in at play here. We often think about the body in separation ways. We think about the body being built in the same way as compression, meaning the one thing stacked on the other, and this builds the foundation of the materials that can actually handle this compressive force. We think the feet and then the legs are placed on top of the feet, the spine is placed on top of that, all those layers. And this is very far from the truth, actually. We are not a compressive structure. We are a continuous structure, though. The muscles are not only individual units that is like cables holding up a crane to move your limbs. Okay? This is all built on, this view is very limited. Like the one bone is stacked on the other and then the muscle moves the limb because there is a movement in the bone. The elbow is a kind of pivot, but not as we thought of before. Tensegrity is a way that we can introduce to the true mechanics of the body. The true tensegrity of the body and the understanding of tensegrity in the body is the connected worldview, not the segregated worldview. The body depends on tension and integrity of the body to balance the soft tissues. The fascia and the muscles is actually holding the skeleton upright. Now, most would think it's the skeleton holding the tissues up, but that is not the truth. The skeleton is a series of bones floating in the soft tissue. There is a form of engineering that can explain this. I will put a model of a tensegrity model where you can see the rods and also the tension. The rods do not touch each other. That's the bones in your body. The tensegrity of the structure lies in the balance of the cords opposed to the struts or the bones. Now, the struts or the bones is the compression mechanism or structure. They resist compression from all angles. So none of these struts or bones should touch each other. If they do, you're in pain. If you think about discs compressing onto each other. And it holds the structure by the tension from the bands or the cords or the soft tissue, your fascia and muscles. Not because the struts or the bones are sitting one on top of each other. The cords are holding them in place a little bit away from each other. So when you change the tension, the struts and the bones start moving. The more pressure or the more strain, the stronger and the more solid this structure becomes. If you think about curling up into a small little ball. I used to have this giraffe as a child, and it was standing up, and as soon as you press the button, it collapses. That's in the body too. So take your finger, for example. At rest, when you're pointing it up, can you see how it has mobility, wiggle room? Now extend it. Where's the wiggle room? There's no wiggle room left. Okay? This is because the structure became strong or the wave potential collapsed into particle. This is it. Now, when injury happens, when we are at extreme measures, this is when injury happens. If we are not, there's wiggle room to take deeper impact. Now, the adaptability of the whole is determining the tensegrity of the whole. The compression isolated, but the tension is continuous. So the myofascia are the continuous strain that connects the bones and also provides the cooling in a construction way, okay? And the bones are pushing out compression, okay? Still with me? So there's two types that we get in this balance. There is the tension or the shortening or the adhesion at some point. So it is not localized, but the effect is the whole. If you think about having a straight or a strenuous hip, you're going to struggle to lift your arm. Now, the body is a strain distribution machine, not a strain localizing machine. The entire body and the entire body's strength comes from the compression of the leeway that the body gives when it's being pulled or pushed. So this making a change in your foot will lead to an overall body change in your entire system. And this changes your adaptability. So tensegrity structures are the only structures that when you expand them in one direction, it expands in all directions. It's omnidirectional. So if you are cueing, for example, a yoga posture, when you're saying, like, imagine there's a string attached to the crown of your head and you're pulling it up, not only are you expanding in that direction, but your chest becomes broader and prouder. Your legs ground down deeper. Your shoulders not only move back, but they move out more. Just in this one directional pulling up, you're expanding in all ways. So that is the law of tensegrity that we have within our bodies. The teaching of my yoga drastically started changing when I started cueing and thinking in terms of fascia, where the fascial layers are, how they connect, where they connect to, where's the overused parts, where's the underused parts, influencing and activating the superficial layer of, or the superficial layer of fascia in the front and the back of the body. I no longer think about, oh, let's adjust the hips, let's expand the rib cage, let's bring the spine back in neutral position, let's drop the shoulders, let's elongate the neck, let's broaden through, it's just activating that superficial fascia takes care of all of that. So this law of tensegrity is, in my opinion, the connected worldview instead of the segregated worldview. Let me know what you think. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Your thoughts and comments are always welcome here.